Hi everyone, my name is Rob, and today this video is about how to assemble a 1/24 scale model miniature house. Now this is basically the base of the ground slab here. Now this table, by the way, rotates 360 degrees, and that way I'll be able to show you all the different angles, how the house is actually being built. And before I start assembling it, I just want to show you all the bits and pieces that are going to go. I've got them spread out all through the room here, which we'll go and have a look. Give you some ideas what to use if you've never done anything like this before. Now, for example, well, the first thing you have to do is actually have a plan. So you need to draw a plan. This is actually quite good. This is graph paper, 1mm squares. And you can see here I've just started doing a bit of a staircase there, for example. You can make your own drawing board as well. Now, here's all the balustrading. As you can see, there's quite a lot of it. And again, that took me a couple of weeks to make all that. And again, what I want to do is basically give you hints about how to use some of the materials. So we'll start off with, say, with the balustrading, for example. I'll just give you a close-up. This is not painted, but that's all balsa timber, except for the columns, and the posts are made out of Tasmanian oak, and the top round ones are what they call cover buttons to fill out holes. Now, if you look at all the columns in the balustrade, is that basically all it is just one of these. I'll just pull that apart. If you go to Office Works, and it's just one of those push pins. So all I do is take one pin out and then I just join it together. Just join it together like that. Just get a vise and squash it up a bit. Make sure it's nice and tight. And you can see there, it's a lot of work. Also, I made the little tables and chairs. There's some more tables over there, for example. There's a spiral staircase, which I made as well. And this one here, they're just split pins with a bit of chain, and that's all balsa as well. Okay, can you guess what this is made out of? Now, it's balsa, but the hedges, they're scourers, okay, for washing up. Now, if you look carefully here, you'll see all the pots here. All the red, the yellow, that's all sandpaper, coloured sandpaper. Over there you can see there's little thimbles there. The white ones, they're the ones that goes on the end of your chairs. And all the grey ones here, there's medium size, and there's some tall ones just there, as you can see. That's electrical conduit. And what I did is I just went to the bargain shop, bought all these plants like in a pot, and separated them all, and I got quite a few plants out of them, as you can see, or else they could be very expensive if you had to buy them individually. And again, just the little tables and chairs there as well, all made out of balsa. The base is made out of MDF board. Now over here we have all the columns, the posts, the big posts that are going to hold most of it together and to keep it nice and square. They all look like that, by the way. These are just, I just set them there so I knew what order they're going to go in. And that's a 4mm threaded rod. Look, I could put them on there without them, but it gives it a bit more stability and stop it from warping and twisting. So little things like this, some more electrical conduit as well. I think they're about 40 cents or something from Bunnings. That's a end of a curtain rod. So what you do is you just cut the base off through there, flatten it out, give it a bit of sandpaper, and put a bit of tape across it so it sits flat. That's MDF board that I've been using a lot of, which is fantastic to use because it's easy to cut, it's easy to sand, it's easy to plane, and you can get in different thicknesses, as you can see here. And then, as you can see, I've basically put all the lines in to represent the brickwork or blockwork, stonework, and as you probably gathered, I love castles and stone design, all the Victorian and anything in the Gothic area. Now these things here you just buy from the bargain shop. Is also going to be just stuck onto your models. These things here you can buy like a pack of 10, and you get all different shapes. Again, you can just paint them whatever colour you like. I love Bondcrete. I use Bondcrete on everything. except for brushing my teeth. But it is good stuff. It's actually acts as a sealer. Now, of course, we've got all the balsa timber here. It all comes in different thicknesses, 1 millimetre, 1.5, 3, 5, 8. So there's all different uses. Easy to cut, easy to carve, etc., which is really good stuff. And the other thing I wanted to show you too, see this little thing here? It's pretty tiny, actually. These are actually used, for example, you can just buy a pack of them, and they're a Rivet Nut Insert. And what that means is that, you know, these can be pressed into it. Like, you need a special tool, but in my case, I'll show you in a second, but just remember that. It's got a thread down inside it there. You can just barely see it. So that's going to go on the end of these things here. So it's going to be threaded on the end of those. Okay, and I'll show you them later. On the floor here, we have what we call Hebel block. Again, you can buy that from Bunnings, you can buy all the balsa from Bunnings, everything I've shown you so far from Bunnings. And now, Hebel block is basically also known as AAC block, which is aerated concrete, and I can pick it up with one hand. So 100 millimeters thick, 200 millimeters wide, and 600 millimeters long. And I've used that in the model as well. I've actually carved all that out, which I'll show you in a minute. Oh, by the way, all the windows, all the screens on the windows, see that sort of mesh? That's what I used. What I did is I actually just bought a like an A4 size tray made out of the same stuff to cut it all up, and I made all the window frames. And now over here on the table, now you can see the bits and pieces everywhere. Okay, I'll start over here. This is the Hebel block I was just telling you about. So I've carved that out of one solid block. So you can imagine 600, okay, by 200, etc. And then what I did is I put a fibre cement sheeting down the bottom, and just carved all that out and carved out all the brickwork as well. And that's also, all the timber is also just balsa as well. And then what I did there is I basically sealed that with Bondcrete, and then I painted over it. Now getting over to the main section here. So by the way, sorry, getting back to that, that's the garage, one of the garages there, storage area, garbage bins, hot water system, pool pumps, whatever you want it to be. Now, as I mentioned before about using different materials, this section here, which is more almost like a B&B or a granny flat, whatever you want to call it, that's it there. Now that's fibre cement sheeting there. Very hard to work with, very hard to cut, very time consuming. So I only did that section, and this will represent about 400 millimeters thick wall. So because I love castles, like I said. And now you can see here also what I've done is I've actually drawn the plans on the floor inside. So there's not going to be any furniture. So in real life, this is what it would actually, you know, the plans would actually be. I would actually build this, by the way, in real life if I had the money. There's a little bit more balsa. That's a bit of a border that I'll be putting on later. Like I said before, you can see there, it's easy to cut and manipulate there with whatever you want to do, what shape. Okay, and then this section here and that section there, this is all timber. It's all pine. And you can see 16 millimeters thick, again to represent the scale model of 124. Over there we have the driveway and a few more plants. Again, a few more plants there. And of course the tower. And the tower I was saying to you before about the little designs. And of course I just painted them. And again, I don't know if you can make that out there. Can you see what that is? A bit hard to see. That there is actually a miniature peg, which I just split in two. And I've also used bigger pegs along here as well. So there's more of the push pins. And just little tiny things to make it look a bit prettier. Now this also this tower would have an elevator in it as well, an elevator down the side, but it also acts as storage purposes, because now if you think about castles and things like that back in the old days, the whole idea of not to have stairways on the outside because of the enemy, but I like external staircases, everything, and so it's got a bit of both, so elevator and a staircase. Now down here we can see all the gardens, all the small pot plants as well. All right, by the way, you know what the grass is? That's actually sandpaper, which I sprayed green. And again, you can see more of the pots over there as well, and plants. Okay, a bit more storage area in the back here as well. Now over here, here's all the slabs of concrete that have to go on. A lot of concrete. Okay, there's the stairways that have to go on. So what I'm going to do, another thing I want to point out. Okay, if you look, you can probably notice that there's a lot of grooves in there. And what I've done here is first time I've ever decided to put lighting into a model, and this is what all those grooves are. Is I got a router and I went all the way around and put it where I thought it was going to go, and this is what it looks like. So I have to have access to it. Okay, so you can see what it's going to look like. So it's going to come up pretty good. So it looks a bit rough there, but you're not going to be able to see all that. And these are like these bits of timber you see here. These are just like locators. All right, so how it's got to sit on there. It's got to sit perfectly square. And again, a little bit of trimming here. Okay, that's actually out of a picture frame. All right, a bit of aluminium U channel, and the whole idea of using that also is to give it strength. Okay, to keep it nice and straight. All right, and again, this is all MDF board, by the way, 9mm thick. Okay, here we have 90 by 35 timber, again to keep it nice and straight. Now in real life this would actually be big slabs of concrete. Now there would normally be cutaways in the centre all the way through. Okay, the whole idea of that is to have air flowing through, but also to act as a storage area. And also, because this is a metre off the ground, all the piping will actually come through here. And so if there was any problem, you could come through underneath and get to any of the pipes, because you're going to have around about a metre clearance underneath it. So it's plenty of room for that. All right, so now I think what I'll do, I'll just bring it back over here. And by the way, this over here is what's going to be used to rotate the table later on. This is an Azito 18-volt cordless drill, and all I've done is I put a 50mm rubber wheel on it, and a couple of washers there because I had to drill through it to keep it still, and a bolt running through the centre to hold it. And I made up this bracket, and I'm going to put this little clamp on and feed it onto here, so I can get a screwdriver through here and adjust it. And of course it's going to be slow. So, and the whole idea is that you put it on a low speed, and because obviously you're doing a display, you don't want it to go fast anyway. So I'm just going to mount this back up again, and what I'll do is I'll pause it, and I'm going to mount each section. So what you're seeing there right now is the first of the slabs. And by the way, believe it or not, this model was actually twice this size, and it was just getting out of hand and just getting too big. So I decided to only make half it. But normally what it would have been is, this is the back part of it. What it would have had, just to give you an idea, the house was here, and then down here would have been another granny flat or a guest house, and a garage and a swimming pool. Okay, so that's what that was all about. So you can see it spins quite freely, and it just makes it easier to work on. So when you're trying to get into tight spots, and of course I have to have clearance, because when it comes around here, it's almost hitting the wall, so I have to be careful. That's the advantage of turning it in and out. So the other thing is, this is on caster wheels, by the way, so I can actually move that right up against the wall, so it's out of the way a bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause, and I'm going to put each section on, and you're going to just see it being built up and built up, and hopefully I'll get all this done in one shot. Okay, let's pause it there, and I'll put the next bit on. Okay, so as you can see here, I'll put on the steps, the front steps, okay, and I'll put the base slab down now. I've actually screwed it on 4 corners, okay, because you need it, because what happens is, it doesn't matter how many times you paint it, it can still warp and twist and that as well, so you really need to tighten things together. I did have holes here as well, but I'm not going to put them in for the time being. I'm just going to leave them out. I don't need them right now, but this is keeping it pretty flat. Now, again, mark everything that you do, because some things look alike. So I've marked this one here, for example, which is the rear part, and I've also put these locators here as well to make sure everything lines up perfectly. Okay, so that one sits there. Okay, that sits there. All right, now just grab the other, the next floor to go on. Okay, so the next section's on now. So basically, remember I said this is the main part of the house. Okay, so we've got the lounge room, the kitchen, dining room and kitchen, and the bedroom, ensuite, hallway, walk-in robe, bedroom. It's a 2 metre wide hallway, by the way. Okay, so each bedroom has its own ensuite, laundry and toilet, both. So you could have that as, for example, B&B for 2 couples or a family of 4, for example. I'll just give you a quick spin around just to show you what that looks like. Now don't forget, when I have this rotating properly, it'll be going a little bit slower, but the whole idea, it should come up quite nice when it's all lit up as well. Okay, so you can see here it's almost to one side, isn't it? So that means that the weight is a bit uneven and can make a difference too. So once this other side goes on, it'll probably balance it out a little bit more, especially when it's turning electrically. Okay, so I'm going to pause again. So I'm going to put the next slab on, and the granny flat or B&B or whatever you want it to be. Okay. Okay, here's the next section put on now. So the next slab being put on. Like I said, top again, a quick spin around again just to show you again. Now, I'll grab the camera later and we'll do a bit more of a close-up, but just to show you now, what I'm going to do now is I'll put the roof on this one, and I'll put the tower in and the gardens on that one. The balustrading is going to take me probably the longest to put on in all the posts, so that's the reason I've got to pause, because I don't want you watching just me doing it, and just I'll show it all done. Okay, so I'm going to put the, as I said, put the roof on now, put the tower on, put the gardens in on that side. Okay, there's actually a little quick change of plan. What I've decided to do, I'm not going to put the tower in yet, the tower in yet. I'm going to put all the posts in because it's just going to be easy for me to work on to do all that. So, plus I also have got to put the turntable in and the other bits of the driveway. Okay, so slowed me down a little bit, and now that we can see the roof is on now, and you might be able to see the lights from there, I'm not sure. But once the balustrading goes on there, you probably won't see all the wiring and that, so that's just all temporary. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it there. So I'm going to put all the posts on now, and then all the balustrading will start to go on. Okay, it's taken me a little bit longer than I thought, but I'm just going to show you the last one. And now this is what I was saying about the steel rod and where those little rivet studs are. So I'm just going to screw that into there because you can't get to it from underneath. See, once it's assembled, that's it. So you've just got a bit of a blind spot there. So I'll basically screw it in. It won't go any further than there anyway. So then I can just back it off a little bit, and then I can whack the post on. And you'll probably, won't take much notice, but you'll notice that this one's got 1 line, this one's got 2 lines, and they've got 3 lines. So I knew which floor they had to go on, because believe it or not, there's sometimes a fraction of a millimetre difference between them, and that's what I had to do just to keep them marked. This is the last one, and then of course the balustrading's got to go on. It's taken me probably good over 10 minutes so far, but anyway, that's the way it goes. I just didn't want to bore you for too long, so again I'm just getting this all in the right position to make sure everything lines up. And then I'll go around and I'll nip them all up in a minute, but I'll do the balustrading in a second. Okay, so I'll pause it there. So now what I'll do is I'll put the balustrading on, and then all the garden's got to go on, and the tower. Okay, so let's hold it. Okay, it's getting there. Sorry it takes so long, and it took me quite a few minutes, probably another 15 minutes to get that. So I hope that when I turn it around it doesn't all fall apart, because I've actually just got it sitting on there. But what I've done is I've actually used double-sided tape, because remember, when you're doing something and something goes wrong, the last thing you want to do is nail it on or completely glue it on properly, or you'll never get it off, or if you did, you'll probably damage it getting it off. So I've still got a bit more to go. As I said, I'm just, for time-wise, I've still got to put the tower on and the gardens on the side, and then I'll do that next. And then what I'll do is connect up the electric motor, and I'll do it by hand to start off with. And by the way, I want to show you a night shot as well when I switch all the lights on, which it should come up quite nice. Yeah, starting to get there. All right, now, okay. All right, now for the tower, I'll just wait there. Okay, well, okay, it's looking pretty good. What I'll do is I'll do a rotation on it, and then what I'll do is I'll switch all the lights on. So I'll do a bit of a night shot and just to see what it looks like, and then I'll bring the camera down and we'll get a bit more of a close-up. So look, it's like I said before, you know, if you didn't have the balustrading, you didn't have the plants, it almost looks like it's unlived in, and it just seems to brighten up the place and it makes it look just nice and neat. And great, so I'll just rotate it by hand first. Okay, so basically when I put the drill on, I'm hoping that this is what's going to happen. It's going to turn nice and slow. Again, I don't want it to turn fast anyway because that's what it is, it's a display. So it's probably a little bit noisy when the drill's on, but as I said, I haven't done this one before, so this is the first time I've done a finale on it, I suppose you could say. And then, like I said, I'll bring the camera down and have a bit more of a look at it close up. Okay, just coming to the back now. Okay, where I've got to touch the drill. And like I said, later on, when I'm finished here, I'm going to, like I said, I've got double-sided tape underneath all the balustrading, so, and hopefully it'll keep it intact. Okay, so that's what that looks like. I suppose I could switch the lights on now just to see what it looks like. Where are we? Now I've got to find all the lights where I put all the lights now. Okay, so I can just barely get my fingers in there. Okay, that's one floor. And the one underneath, I can barely get my hands in there. Well, there goes one of my plants. There's one of my posts that I need to tighten up. Alright, now switch on the other ones as well. I've actually just got to pull the screen out, believe it or not, to actually get to the light switches. And also there's ones for the garden. I get my hands down there, that is. And there's another one up here somewhere. And there's the ones on the top. So I'll turn the lights off in a second. Okay, turn some lights off. We'll see what that looks like. Looks pretty good. Okay, what I might do is I might just rotate it now and see what that looks like. I'm not sure whether it just needs more background light or what, but anyway. A bit of an experiment, like I said, when you're building. Doesn't look too bad so far. And as I said, it's going to be interesting when I put the electric drill on. I mean, it's probably the cheapest way to do it because when you look at reduction motors, they're very expensive. You can spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on variable speed motors, just like they do on a scooter, for example. Okay, I'm going to hold it there. Okay, just going to pause for a second. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attach the electric drill, so it'll just be a couple of minutes. Okay, now it's time for the big test. I'll put the lights on, and even though all the lights are on anyway. Now I've connected up the drill, like I said. I'll bring the camera down in a minute, and I'll show you how I've attached it. And so here we go, the big test. Again, as I said, I don't want it going fast anyway, and then I'll do it while the lights are on, and then I'll do it with the lights off, and then I'll bring the camera down and do a bit more of a close-up. this works, I'll be very happy. Okay, all right, here we go. A little bit of pressure. All right. Nothing's falling apart so far. Just misses that. Oh wow. I'm pretty happy. Okay, I'm going to let that keep going and I'm going to bring the camera down and you can have a bit more of a close-up. Oh, hang on, what about if I do a night shot first? Okay, how about if I do a night shot? And I mean, it looks better in the daytime, but I'm doing all this recording, by the way, with my phone, so we'll just see how that turns out. As I said, we'll do a bit more of a close-up, but it's working. Well, there's my dream home. Okay, so I'll come around a bit more and then I'll bring the camera down, we'll do a bit more of a close-up. While the light's on. I'll switch this light on. Okay, let's have a look now. This is the obviously the base. Yeah, it's amazing what difference a few plants make. So you can see why I didn't want to put any furniture in, because there's no really need for it, because you're not going to see inside it properly anyway. But the plants seem to bring it to life, that's for sure. And I'll show you that the way that electric motor works as well. A little bit of an outdoor setting as well. One for that floor. And another little outdoor setting there for, just for sitting outside for a cup of tea. Now I'll just bring it around and show you the electric motor, the drill. The good old Azito 18 volt drill. Oops. So you can see what's happened and how it's rotating there. There's a fair bit of weight there, like I said, it's just misses it there. And as I said, if you want to see a bit more of a detail on this turntable, it's on the YouTube on how to make a large rotating display table. I'm really happy with that. I hope you like it. That's what dreams are all about, is your imagination. Alright, I'll wait till it comes out, well, this is the front of the part of the house here. I'll wait till it goes around and then I'll stop it and that'll be the end of it. So as you can see here, all I've got to do is a screwdriver with that clamp on the trigger. And it's a 4 amp battery, so it's got plenty of power. It's almost there. I'm just going to turn this and then it'll go off. There we go. Done. Just pull that out of there. Oh, well, that's almost 1.5 years work there. I hope you enjoyed watching it. And as I said, if you want to look at all those other houses as well, just Miniature Houses by Rob C. And you'll see them there. Now eventually, obviously, I'll be putting this on YouTube as well. Thanks very much for watching. Bye for now.